There are several methods by which we can fabricate photonic crystals. We are going to discuss some of the popular methods to fabricate photonic crystals. It is really difficult to find a single method by which all types of photonic crystals can be fabricated. Depending required dimensionality, we have to find out a suitable method for photonic crystal fabrication. Self-assembly is the spontaneous organization of atoms or molecules into specific structures without external intervention. One of the key requirements for self-assembly process is that the constituent components should be mobile. This will enable them to migrate to form an ordered structure from an initial disordered state. Colloidal self-assembly is the most efficient method for fabrication of three-dimensional photonic crystal. In this method, pre-designed building blocks such as monodispersed silica or polystyrene nanospheres spontaneously organize themselves into a stable structure. However, such structures usually do not have a full photonic band gap in the optical wavelength because of their low refractive index contrast. There are several techniques by which self-assembled photonic structures can be obtained from colloidal solutions. A widely used technique for creating colloidal crystals is gravity sedimentation. Sedimentation is a process whereby particles suspended in a solution settles to the bottom of the container as the solvent evaporates. It is very crucial to find the proper conditions for liquid evaporation so that the particles form a periodic lattice. Sedimentation under gravity is a slow process taking several weeks to get good crystals. If the process is accelerated to a few days, then crystallization produces a polycrystalline structure with many defects. The size of crystallites varies and depends on the quality of building blocks, time of crystallization, temperature, humidity, etc. Another method for colloidal self-assembly is the cell method. Here an aqueous dispersion solution of spherical particles is injected into a cell formed by two glass substrates and a frame of photoresist or mylar film placed on the surface of the bottom substrate. To this structure, an aqueous dispersion of dielectric material is poured carefully. One side of the frame has channels that can retain the particles while allowing the solvent to flow through. So the particles settle down in the cell to form an ordered structure. And this technique is particularly useful for fabrication of thin polystyrene photonic crystals in water. A disadvantage of this method is that when it dries, defects are formed inside its structure. Two-photon lithography is another well-known technique studied for fabricating photonic crystals. As we discussed in the beginning of this course, two-photon absorption is the simultaneous absorption of two photons by a material to get excited into an energy level which is separated by an energy difference much larger than a single photon energy. This technique utilizes the fact that certain materials such as polymers are sensitive to two-photon excitation to trigger chemical or physical changes in the material structure with nanoscale resolution in 3 dimensions. Since two-photon absorption quadratically depends on the intensity of the incident laser, the resulting photochemical or photophysical changes are spatially localized near the high intensity region of the focal point. This feature, together with greater depth penetration enabled by the use of long wavelength exciting lasers, allow one to fabricate three-dimensional photonic crystals. Since the two-photon absorption is confined to a tiny volume, scanning the focus within the material can produce three-dimensional microscale patterns. When tightly focused in a photosensitive material, femtosecond laser pulses initiate two-photon polymerization and produces structures with a resolution down to 200 nanometer. Electron beam lithography is another technique which enables us to create various photonic crystals with extremely high resolution. It is a relatively complicated and expensive method. In this method, the sample is covered with an electron sensitive material called the resist. This resist undergoes substantial change in its chemical or physical properties when it is exposed to an electron beam. The beam position and intensity are precisely controlled so that electrons are delivered only to certain areas to get the desired pattern. After exposing to electron beam, a part of the resist is dissolved away and the sample can be further processed with etching procedures to get the final crystalline structure. Electron beam lithography is mostly used for fabrication of two-dimensional photonic crystals. Substrate patterned by electron beam lithography needs to be etched to create the desired two-dimensional photonic crystal structure. Etching can also be done with substrates patterned by other lithographic processes like UV or photolithography. And this technique utilizes marking of a planar pattern of unwanted areas on the surface of a semiconductor and then etching these marked areas to create holes and thus resulting photonic crystal structures. There are two types of etching methods, the dry etching and wet etching. Dry etching refers to the removal of material according to the masked pattern by exposing the material to a bombardment of ions or a plasma of reactive gases. One of the popular dry etching method is reactive ion etching, which utilizes reactive ions generated by plasma discharge in a chlorine-based or fluorine-based reactive gas. These ions are accelerated towards the sample surface under an electric field. Generally, dry etching provides a good control over the hole size, but it has a limited maximum etching depth. The etching process that involves using liquid chemicals or etchants to take off the substrate material is called wet etching. In this case, a pre-pattern with etch bit is first created on the front face of a substrate using lithographic patterning. Materials that are not protected by the mask are etched away by liquid chemicals. A wet etching process involves multiple chemical reactions that consume the original reactants and produce new reactants. The wet etch process can be described by three basic steps. One, the diffusion of the liquid etchant to the structure that is to be removed. And second, the reaction between the liquid etchant and the material being etched away, leading to a redox reaction. And the third step is diffusion of the byproducts in the reaction from the reacted surface. When a material is etched by a liquid or vapor etchant that is either removed isotropically, that is uniformly along all directions, or anisotropically, in which uniformity is in vertical direction only. The difference between isotropic etching and anisotropic etching is shown in this figure. Material removal rate for wet etching is usually faster than the rates for many dry etching processes and can easily be changed by varying the temperature or concentration of active species. Another way to create photonic crystal is the use of holographic methods, which utilize interference between two or more coherent light waves to produce a periodic intensity pattern. The initial laser beam is split into several beams and allowed to overlap in the region of the interest at the angles predetermined by the desired periodicity. The simplest one is the fabrication of a one-dimensional periodic structure produced by the overlap of two beams, where the angle between the two beams determines the periodicity. And this is the TM image and transmission spectra of such a simple one-dimensional periodic structure.